Tim Roth.
Hello.
Sit down.
Just walked in.
Of course you did. Welcome.
Oh. Almost lost it.
There it is, but you're good. Chairs with wheels on it. They can
all
be
good.
very, very harmful.
Well dodgy.
Very, very harmful. Well, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
You are you excited for people to see Tin Star? Because you're the star of the show.
I'm in it.
You're in it, and it seems like it's a big time commitment to do a season of television.
I've done it before.
Right, of course.
But I did it in a very different way. I'd not done that kind of where you do a character across like 10 episodes we have.
Right.
In this. The one that I'd done before was just everything was standalone, so you're just telling a story a week.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. Just because I'd never done it, I just thought this is worth a shot.
Yeah.
So you give it a go. So that was like 55 episodes of that same fella.
Right. And then
that's weird.
Do you become exhausted with the character? Like, how many stories does this guy have to tell?
No, because I never watch stuff that I'm in now.
What do you mean now? Did you used to?
15 years ago, I kind of it's about the time when I directed that I stopped really, unless I'm trapped in a cinema and I can't get out.
Like, yeah.
There is that. And
was there a certain movie that made you say, "I'm not looking at my face anymore" up on that screen?
Yeah.
So when
I know what I look
Good
like.
thing the public isn't.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think you get a better shot if you're not sort of a pretty boy type actor.
I see.
You get a longer life.
You've got to look.
Well, no, you're just pasty English. That would be the look.
That's
That's why I'm a terrible actor, though. I just
what I
bat
mean?
my eyelashes
Well,
at
there is
the
a bit like that, you know?
Right.
But I think you get a longer run if people get a bit hooked on you or whatever. That's okay. I mean, that's cool.
And you don't go through the thing. I mean, we're talking about older actors and actresses. Like, you don't have to worry about people being like, "Oh, he doesn't look like he did when he was young."
No, you just keep looking weird.
Yeah.
You just keep getting weirder.
You got to start down here, right? You got to set that bar low, nice and low.
As long as you're with it. But there is when I came out here, there weren't that many British actors about.
Mm-hmm.
There was me and Gary.
Right, Gary Oldman.
That was it. And Gary came out to do.
That's terrible competition, though, because
right.
he's an incredible actor.
We'd been working together.
Right.
We'd done 2 films together, and he was. I mean, I saw him on stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was an incredible stage actor. That's something that you guys missed out on.
Yeah.
But anyway, but we both of us looked like we'd been dragged through a hedge backwards. You know, basically, you know. But we actually did talk about there's no English people out here at that time. Everyone has to look a certain way to be in films.
Right.
What about the Harry Dean Stantons of the world? What about those guys that are the character that's, you know, an odd journey?
And it's such a great time because I feel like nobody's got a British accent. Everybody's good looking. So it's like when you and Gary Oldman come around, it adds so much credibility because people go, well, the only reason they're here is they must be great actors.
No, we were just trying to be employed. Actually, basically, that was it. But no, and what Gary did, which was super, super smart, was to play Americans. And he started off doing accents. And then when I came out, I did the same thing. And it took, the casting directors didn't know who we were, but they would get that guy in. They didn't know that we were English.
So you were sneaking into...
We were sneaking in.
Yeah. Because now you look at...
Basically, backdooring it.
Right. Now you look at shows like The Walking Dead, for example. Like there's so many British actors that are doing American parts. That's the thing now.
But we also, luckily, for me anyway, I have to say, there was a moment that was happening in America, which was there was a little window of independent filmmaking where Quentin came up through and James Gray came up through and before the powers that be went, oh, there's money in that, we'll take it.
Right.
But just for a second, there were these young filmmakers that were actually getting to make films.
Right.
For no money, whatever, but they were great writers and, you know, these.
And they were their
scripts.
films.
And I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And I went down that road. I didn't go down the big movie road, and I kind of have kept going down that road as much as possible.
You've done a couple big movies, though.
I've done a couple of them.
Yeah.
But but not that many.
Well,
I mean, I like new directors. I like independent film, and I like that world.
and it's funny because I feel like independent film and that stuff is what makes a real impact on people. Like that's what people
I think you try and balance.
remember. But when I told Mike Cannon here that you were coming in today, he was like, I loved him in the Hulk.
Oh,
I love that one.
that
I don't
counts
know
too.
why.
I have to say,
Yeah.
that's one for the kids.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, gonna do that.
That hit me at the right time. What was that,
My
2000,
boys,
2001 or something like that?
Yeah.
my
About
boys,
15 years ago when you stopped watching yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that one, and I took my boys to the premiere, and it was a green carpet and not a red carpet.
Well, the Hulk.
Because it was Hulk. And you know what? It was fun.
Now, and at that point, do your boys go like, "Oh my God, this is what Dad does? This is so
No,
exciting"?
Basically, they look at me like, ugh.
So they are.
The eye roll. You can hear it, across the country.
They're tired of your face.
They're tired of me.
Right.
There's a certain point that you get to with your kids. I don't know if you have kids. But
He's 7 months old though. He loves my face.
I'm shooting blanks.
you're shooting blanks.
Yeah.
There's a point you get to where you become the object of ridicule.
When is that point?
It's almost, you can get it to the day that they're generally about. It's not 16,
Right.
Because then that's just door slamming. That's fine. But when they get to about 17, they start to look at you and go, "Did you just say that? You really just said that, right?" And they start quoting you, and you become the dad joke.
right.
You are that.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
No, you can be the most serious guy, and you're still the dad joke.
Do you explain to them like, a lot of people based on my work think that I'm really cool. Like they
Yeah,
think
that's
that
a dad joke.
they're like,
That's the same.
Right.
You literally are. It's a losing wicket. You are so.
Did you
screwed.
raise them here?
I have the two American boys, and I have a.
Do they have a British accent though? I'm
No,
always
they're
curious
full
about
on.
that.
No, they're full on
Okay.
Californian kids.
That must
Yeah.
be so odd.
I mean, because that's the worst quote I was thinking of. Like, if they're going to quote you, be like, oh, people think
no.
I'm cool.
No, they'll
You
do
can't.
that.
Yeah, of course.
They'll do that and take
Right.
the piss out of you. So you literally don't stand a chance with
No.
your kids. But there comes an age. It's coming to you.
Yeah.
And
How old are they now?
they are now. I have a 20-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 33-year-old.
Okay, so the 33-year-old must be at the point where the relationship has gone full
He's
circle.
the London. He's a man.
Right.
He's a man, but he'd probably still be rolling his eyes at me.
Okay, so that doesn't go away.
I don't think it ever goes away.
Okay, that's unfortunate. that's tough to hear.
Yeah.
So when you started working with Quentin Tarantino, what was when you did Reservoir Dogs like? What was he like as a first-time director? Because that movie was so kind of outside the box. And to me, what's the most interesting about Quentin Tarantino is he was doing his own thing from the beginning. And it's one thing to do that now, but it takes a lot of balls to just show up on the scene and be like, nope, I know it's not like anything else right now, but this is what we're doing.
I'll tell you. Well, first of all, things to remember about that. He had to sell True Romance, which he'd written.
Right.
He had to sell Natural Born Killers, which he'd written.
Right.
To make Reservoir Dogs,
Right.
which he'd written. He got, and he was he's younger than me. He's about 3 years younger than me. He was a babby.
Mm-hmm.
So when I met him, that was his. I didn't know at that time. That's his third script. When you read that script, if you go back and look at the actual look at the script, which I think is published, you can tell there's a great director going around it just from reading it.
Oh, I see. Because you can start to picture it and you can see
he
what
tells
it is.
you.
Yeah.
There is
Stage direction.
You just know.
Yeah.
You're looking at it and going, I want to be in this. I want to. And that was pretty much, I think, everyone's reaction when they read it was like, oh, no, I'm doing this if I can.
Yeah.
And that's continued to today. He is the same person as I met when he was pacing around my little apartment in California going, how are we going to do this? And throwing ideas and stuff around. When we were at the very, very beginning, he's exactly the same guy. He just has more bullets now.
Right.
He has more equipment.
So he's not...
And he's made 8 films.
It can do one... Because doing that can do a couple of things that aren't great. It can either... People sell out and they just make blockbusters, or people get so kind of full of their artistic vision that they don't have a grasp on what they're doing anymore and just go so against the walls.
He's so very...
He's just doing what...
He is determined. That's what I do love.
But he's about to hang it up, right? He's almost done.
He said that. He said 10.
Yeah.
But he also said that Hateful Eight wasn't going to come out after that script leaked, and then thank God it did.
Right.
I was rehearsing a play when that happened, and I got the script, the original script, and it. By the way, we did a reading of it in LA. It's such a great script.
I mean,
the original one.
It might be one of
No, but the original one.
the original one.
The one that came out. It's great. It's a play. It's extraordinary what he did. But the original one as well is just it's worth a read. Worth a check. But yeah, so that you basically, if your phone lights up and it's Quentin, you're just going, please, 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 please. And it was,
And that's when he was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing.
I've got this thing for you," and you go, "Thank you very much. When do I show up?"
Now,
So you don't even have to read it, by the way.
do you get when Tarantino movies come out that you're not in?
They break your heart.
Yeah. Do you get insecure? Like, oh my God, he doesn't like me
no,
anymore?
you don't get insecure.
Okay.
You just get sad.
You do.
You just get so sad.
Oh,
I was supposed to do Inglourious Basterds. He'd written a part for me in it. And I couldn't because I was doing Lie to Me. I was just about to start Lie to Me. And I was so angry. I was furious with myself and just with the world because they don't come around.
Right.
There's just good writing like that doesn't come around. It's very, very rare.
Yeah.
And you can rely on Quentin to write well for you or for anybody.
Yeah.
But he has like a little troupe that he adds to and takes away from as he's pushing through life. And we're all hands up. I'll walk across the back. I'm fine. But you know that you're going to get something.
I would be so scared though of being one of those people in the troupe that kind of get left behind, as you said.
Right.
People come, people go. I'd be terrified of that.
Yes, you are, and you should be.
Right.
And quite rightly, and we all are.
Yeah.
But we've had a shot.
Yeah.
You know, we've all had a crack at it. They're very. I mean, I think of Sam Jackson as his leading man. I think he's like Cary Grant would have been to whoever it may have been.
Like De Niro to Scorsese.
Or Tom Hardy to Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
Well, yeah, kind of.
His muse.
You know, but Sam gets it.
Right.
Just gets it. And he wanted to be in Reservoir Dogs too.
Sam Jackson did?
He was pissed off that he wasn't. And still talks about it to this day.
I would love to hear him furious in real life, actually speaking about missing out on a part.
What's dangerous about Sam when he gets really angry like that is he gets very quiet.
Oh, no.
I'll get my coat, But he, he wanted to be in that. And I'd worked with Sam. I digress, but I worked with Sam up here. I did a film with a really talented young director when I first came out, a guy called Jeff Stansler, and we did a film called Jump in the Boneyard, and we did it, shot up in the Bronx and around New York, and we were the only film shooting out here. You guys weren't making films at that point.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't my fault.
It was all your fault.
Okay, all right.
I lobbied against it personally.
Yeah, you were personal. Mayor Dinkins came to visit the set, and he was wearing tennis whites, and he had pink eye.
Oh, he was eating butt the night before?
I just need everyone to know that. Anyway, so but Sam was in that film. Sam had a small part, Jeffrey Wright, I think, and Sam both had kind of small, like 3 scenes to do. The next time I saw Sam was in the makeup trailer in Pulp Fiction. I went, hi. And we were about to do our stuff in the diner.
That's so cool.
And that, I mean, I would say Sam would probably agree that Quentin changed his life like he did mine.
Do you know when you're doing a line, specifically in those Tarantino movies, do you know when there's a line on the page, you're like, that's going to be one of the ones that stick?
Yep.
Like when you say like I love you, honey bunny, like that's never going away.
When I was doing Twin Peaks, the stuff that I haven't seen it, but I had some stuff to do with Jennifer Jason Leigh, and our relationship we just kept was honey bunny.
That's awesome.
That's great.
awesome.
We almost said it during a take, but David wouldn't have liked it.
By the way, since you haven't seen it, I should let you know a lot of your stuff is great.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really
Came out
good.
really well. Yeah.
You're doing some good stuff.
We studied that diner scene in senior year of high school in my English class for like half a semester.
We shot that as a film.
Oh, really?
just by
Yeah,
itself.
It was the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And it's typical Quentin move, but he just did the whole section as its own film.
Mm-hmm.
So John and Sam were almost secondary players to it,
Oh, wow.
you know. And it's so good. And I knew the script because Quentin actually read the.
Okay,
read
so you
me
didn't
the
go in
script.
thinking you were the main character.
No,
the
that would
cutscene.
have been
What the
even
fuck?
more classic. But no, it was bookends.
Mhm.
Just he wanted the film to begin and end with this particular couple doing
That's awesome.
and
Yeah.
seeing it from two different perspectives. And it's very clever.
Wow.
So you missed out on Inglourious Bastards.
I did.
I read that but that one I can understand because Lie to Me was a big series
It
and
was
a
only
hit.
one scene, I think. It was one sequence that
for the
Quentin
movie.
wanted me to do.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But
but I couldn't be there for it.
I read that you turned down the Harry Potter.
Yes.
Is that true? That you turned down the first Harry Potter?
No, what's true?
Tell me.
There's two versions of that story.
Tell me.
I'll tell you both.
Yeah.
I said yes.
To Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I was reading it to my children, and so I went to meet with the director, and said, "My kids will kill me if I don't do this." And they were really cool, and I think book 3 was out or something, and it was for Snape, and I thought, oh, I can play him. I had a very different animal in mind from what Alan did. So that's okay, but because we're different people. And then Tim Burton came along with monkey acting.
Planet of the Apes,
And I was like,
2001.
Another one of my faves.
Yeah, another classic. So I was like, I want to do that. I want to play monkey. So which I thought would be fun. So
Sure, why wouldn't you?
Why not? Right. So I went yes to both.
Okay.
And so and the Harry Potter people were very cool, and they will fly you back and forth between England and America, so you can make both movies.
Wow.
And I started to go cross-eyed with the idea of it, and so I pulled out of the Harry Potter thing. I said, "Thank you, but I can't. I'll just go and be a monkey over here."
I see no potential in this franchise. I'm going to go this way.
I saw Lunchbox Central.
So then why did you pick the monkey movie?
I wasn't, and I talked to my boys about it because they think it's hilarious.
That's the one thing they find funny.
Right. It's that
You're like, yeah, it's really funny that you're not living in a bigger house. Yeah, keep laughing, kid. Keep laughing.
I didn't want my life to be franchised.
Now that makes sense because even when
I wanted to keep acting, and I thought there was a chance
yeah.
that I would have to stop at some point because I could see it was going to be huge. I knew it was going to be a massive thing,
And
but not in the way that I want to be known.
No, I get that. And as big as it was for Alan,
Yeah.
it was also when Alan passed, as much amazing work as that guy's done,
But
many
he was-
people were like, Snape.
But he was ready.
He wanted that.
He was completely ready to
Right.
do that. I spoke when I directed, and I only did it one time.
Mm-hmm.
He was an actor that I kind of knew of that had directed him and Gary Oldman. So I called Alan up. I'd already spoken to Gary about it. I called Alan up and said, and just to talk me down off the ledge a little bit about how do you do this? And he said, get some sleep. That was his note to me, which is very Alan. Get some sleep because you're not going to have any for a long time. And he was right. For about 2 years, you don't. And it you know, he did it. He's the guy in the with the figures in the box in the shops. He's Snape.
Right.
He did it. It's a story that I tell, but really, it's not that interesting.
I think it's interesting. I mean, it was right there. And then I actually think the most interesting thing is like this head you got on your shoulders, that doesn't drive you crazy. You know what I mean? That you can put that even the little thing that you just did where you said Alan did it differently, but that's okay. We're different people.
Yeah.
And you move on. Like the way you can put things in the proper perspective.
But I think I actually do think about it, like if I had done it, I wonder if it would have been an uphill struggle, because I know how I would like to have the character to have looked, and everything is a toy in a box.
Right.
When you have those
Franchises.
So my toy wouldn't have been that one. I mean, I don't know.
Right, and they want to sell that toy.
If they would have gone, no, you're going to play it this way.
That's like real artistic integrity, too, to specifically know what you want to be remembered for. I want to be remembered in the Vegas way possible. Like, I just want but I want 10 RIPs on Twitter, and I'm good.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Guaranteed. But it's
I'm
like,
going to remember that for years.
It's kind of bonkers, though. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, as my boys are becoming, they are men. It's like, what do you want to do?
Right.
What do you want to do?
Do any of them want to act?
No, my one in London is an actor, but my little ones, I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah.
But no, one's a musician and one I think is a director. To be honest, I think that's what will happen.
Was it difficult for the older one when the younger ones came? Because like
Yes,
obviously,
always.
and you're in a different place in your
Always.
life. You're going to focus on these little kids, and he's going to be like, "Hey, what about me? I've been over here
sure.
for years."
That happens.
Yeah.
And you gotta push through. It either goes well or it doesn't. But yes, of course.
And you just have to
I
understand
was
that that's the
23
reality.
when he was born.
That's what I mean. That
Yeah,
like
I was a baby.
as a 23-year-old, you're not going to be the father that you are to these young kids, right?
No, but you're hopefully best mates.
Right.
That's what you aim at.
It's
anyway,
also good
I
to have a
think.
practice one.
Yeah, you just try this out for size.
No, that's true. That's true. That's actually that's the perspective. What was David Lynch like to work with on Twin Peaks? Because everybody's got David Lynch stories,
They
coming
do?
off that show. Sure,
I
we had.
well, mine is. What's my David Lynch story? I find him to be a gentle soul,
Really?
really gentle soul, which makes he writes books about transcendental meditation, right? So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like one of the guys.
Because he frightens people.
He doesn't frighten me.
Good.
He just makes me giggle. I showed up on set. He was about halfway through it, I guess, when we started shooting our stuff. He said, "What's he sound like?" And I did a voice for him. He went, "I like that. Do that." So okay. And then he gives really. I haven't seen it, but I know how my character ends up. I guess it's out.
It's
it's over. Yeah,
people
it's
have binged.
Okay, so spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But when I was getting shot, his note to me was, think ragdoll Elvis.
I know exactly what that looks like.
And we shot it. And that was
That's a great note.
Moving the hips, but no bone control.
What a fantastic note.
That's awesome.
And I think of him, I mean, I love him.
Yeah.
And when they said Twin Peaks, we just went, yep, whenever, however, whatever, But
The rest of the Shakira lyrics.
But the thing about exactly. But the thing I remember of David's, which you guys may not have seen, is Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and the woman who lives in the radiator with the incredibly swollen cheeks and all the umbilical cords falling like rain. Yeah. Okay. Hi, David. I mean, what is your world? But I went and saw that film 10 times. Never understood it.
Right.
Didn't care to understand it. Just enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking
Talk
to.
about integrity, that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, incredible.
We had with Kyle MacLachlan in here recently, and that's what I was asking him. Is that these questions that we watch Twin Peaks and we have like, what did that mean? And we like, is that something that you ask David on the set? Like,
No, never.
You don't ask.
He may have, because
He said no.
He knew everything.
He did.
Well, Kyle has to kind of know. I mean, I saw Kyle. I worked with that version of his character.
Right.
One, I guess there's three, right?
Um,
Three Coopers.
Yeah, there's
in
definitely
the new one.
two. Yeah, I
Two
guess
or
so.
three?
Two or three. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm working with this guy with the mullet and the black eye thing going down. And so that's the actor that we're working with,
Right.
you know. And then we're having a break and having a cup of tea and waiting for the cameras to get set up and all of that. And then we wrap out our stuff, me and Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm in makeup, getting sort of scrubbed up, and he's getting ready to play the other guy.
Right.
And I'm like, that's as much information as I have got on it. Still, by the way. I'm like, oh, you're another guy? He said, yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. Fine. I'll keep, you know, and you're told to keep quiet.
after you
And
see
I'll
this,
never watch it.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Actually,
say.
I'm going to watch that one.
Nice.
Because after
Gonna
all this
binge watch it.
weirdness that you see, don't
Yeah.
you kind of want to watch the show even though you're on it just to see what on earth was I filming?
That one definitely.
Right.
But I'm not allowed to watch. My kids have put a kind of embargo on it because, especially my 22-year-old, because he wants to see the first one.
Right.
He wants to see the whole thing, go through the movie, and then we'll sit and watch. So
And watch
we're
the new
supposed to
one.
do a whole
You're gonna get some time
festival
then.
of.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well,
As
how
much
does-
as they make fun, they're
Because
still interested.
No,
yeah.
David Lynch is
That's the,
about as cool as it gets.
How does David Lynch's style of writing, directing, but you probably work with him more as a director, compare with Tarantino?
They're just different animals.
Completely different
Yeah.
animals. Now, I've heard David Lynch is very married to the words on the page.
It's absolutely specific.
Is that the same way Quentin is, or is it more of a?
In a different way, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I find with Quentin is he's already written the improvisation in. It's already there. You go, shit, I wish I could have thought of that, but it's that's Quentin's gig.
Right, you're going word specific on a Tarantino movie because you're not beating
'Cause you're
it.
done.
That's you.
He's done it for you.
Right.
You're absolutely.
He's in your
there
head.
it is.
Yeah.
With David's script, there's a plan that you don't know. I don't know the world of Twin Peaks. I
Right.
don't know why my character might say A, B, or C. It's specifically there for a reason. But Quentin has that too. But you just give it up to him.
Right.
Do you find that lack of information adds to the performance then? Like, are you performing under that guise of not knowing? Or do you have to kind of act still
I think
assured?
it's probably good.
Yeah.
Actually, I quite liked it. The only other guy that I've worked with who does that is Woody Allen.
Mhm.
And with Woody Allen, he was going to send me the script, and then he decided not to. He just said, I'm like, okay, cool. He wrote me a long letter and then said, here's your bits, and I'll see you on set. And then when I worked with him, it was, again, different. We were up here, and he came to the scripts and said, okay, this is a good line. That will get you a laugh. All of this stuff, do whatever you want, do whatever you... Use this line. This is a good line, too.
Yeah.
This one will get you a laugh, too. And he'd say, but the rest of it, do whatever you feel. I'm like, okay. About to improvise Woody Allen.
Yeah.
But he wanted it.
Right.
He wanted that freedom for my particular character, I think.